Set boundaries. Have some self-respect. Do not allow people to walk all over you, exploit you, take advantage of you. Draw a line in the sand. I speak to a lot of guys who struggle with setting boundaries because they don't want to be perceived a certain way, or they don't want to be perceived as an asshole or somebody who's harsh. But they allow people to exploit them. Whether it's in the workplace, with their manager, when their manager says something extremely disrespectful in front of their colleagues. Whether it's in a relationship. I speak to a lot of guys who have an issue with setting boundaries with their woman. They're scared of her. They're scared of her potentially leaving. But I tell you what, fellas, if you do not set boundaries, and by the way, setting boundaries can be done in a polite and classy manner. Don't get it twisted. When I say set boundaries, I don't mean be disrespectful. No. You can be absolutely classy with it. Hey, what you did back there, extremely disrespectful. That doesn't go well with me. I'm letting you know right now. And this is something that shocks a lot of people because most people have never been checked before. They poke and prod and see how much they can get away with. For example, in the workplace, one of your colleagues or your manager says something extremely rude. You don't let it slide because they will continue to be rude to you. And you will be exploited and humiliated. The moment it happens, and this is very important, fellas, when it comes to setting boundaries, it must be done swiftly. Do not brush it under the carpet in the hopes that it will sort itself out or the problem will go away. No, you check it straight away. One of your colleagues or your manager says something disrespectful. Hey, can I have a word, please? What you did back there was very rude. I don't appreciate that. And by the way, a lot of people are going to be surprised by that. Nobody's ever confronted them with their disrespect. Oh, sorry, I didn't know. It's happened to me once. I told you this, guys, before in one of my videos. I had a manager who was extremely disrespectful, shouted at me in front of my colleagues for no good reason. I was out on Friday prayers during my lunch break. He supposedly wasn't aware. I walk back into the office and he shouts at me in front of my colleagues. What kind of a manager is that? I said, don't you dare raise your voice at me in front of my colleagues. If you want to speak to me like a man in private. His face went red. Now, I matched his energy right there because he shouted. And he was making some jokes as well. And I don't fuck with that. And he was, you should have seen his face, stuttering. So then we walked into the meeting room. And I told him, hey, I don't fuck with that. I didn't say fuck, but I told him straight up. I don't appreciate that. What you did back there, very rude. If you have a problem, then speak to me about it. 1-to-1, man to man. No need for this screaming and shouting shit. We're not women here. He was very apologetic. I didn't know you were on Friday. You were going to Friday prayers. I didn't know. Now, if I would have ignored that, I can guarantee you he would have continued with the disrespect because he would have thought I was a bitch. I just take things. I'm a punching bag. No. I checked it right there and then. Was I always this way? No. In my younger years, to avoid conflict, especially in relationships, I would let things slide. There's only so many things you can let slide before the relationship becomes absolutely chaotic. And you will be a punching bag. You will not be appreciated. When it comes to being in a relationship, women shit test. Now, for those of you that don't know what the word shit test means, it's when a woman instinctively tests your strength as a man, your strength of character, how you respond in certain situations. Sometimes they don't even know they're doing it. They'll say something to see your reaction, or there's many scenarios where a shit test could unfold. But when the lady that you're with does something very disrespectful, you do not ignore it. Please, fellas. And I know the fear for most guys is her potentially reacting in a different way than her leaving. You're afraid of her leaving. But I tell you what, if you do not check her, she will lose respect for you and then eventually leave anyways, because she's going to be like, I can get away with anything with this guy. I mean, for goodness sakes, I could probably cheat on his best friend and he won't leave me. He has no self-respect. When you set boundaries, it's a sign of self-respect. That's what it is. And people admire that. This man respects himself. Good. All right, so don't have the fear that, oh no, but what if I say something and then she gets mad and leaves me? Well, then she wasn't the right one for you. If she does something extremely disrespectful and you check her on it, and like I said, it can be done in a polite way. If she decides to leave after that, then she was planning to leave. Come on, fellas. Stay sharp. If she just left so easily because you mentioned something that made you upset, then she was planning the exit. She was probably already out anyways. All right, but most women, if you know, I assume that you guys will make sure that you vet the woman correctly. And if you're with a good woman and she does something disrespectful and you mention it to her, she'll apologize. She'll apologize. And this goes the other way, guys, as well. Even when it comes to your male friends. I don't want people to perceive this video to be about women only. No. I'm giving you guys different examples here. Workplace, relationships, right? But if she's a good woman, she'll apologize. And look, it doesn't mean that an argument won't ever happen again. You know my stance on relationships, guys. I'm very realistic. Problems will occur. Arguments will happen. It's just about making sure that you come to a resolution in the calmest possible manner. I always tell you guys to remain stoic. Do not lash out and shout and do not ever consider being violent. You know, stay calm and collected. Conflict resolution is one of the most important skill sets to learn in a relationship. De-escalating. A lot of guys out there struggle with it. And I've seen couples in public argue before, shouting at the top of their lungs to each other. And I'm just like, oh God, this is awful. This is awful to see. This is not healthy. You know, it's actually very interesting because a lot of people think that they're not in a toxic relationship when they are. But it takes two to tango. So if you are the good one at conflict resolution, as in you try your very best, you remain calm and collected and you try and de-escalate, but she doesn't want to, then that's a problem. It takes two people that are willing to de-escalate in order for a relationship to continue existing. You know? It's very difficult for two human beings to spend every day together and not have any problems occur. You will bump heads. You will have disagreements on certain topics, certain issues around the world, etc. You know, if anything, it's important to have differences and disagreements. No woman wants to be with a guy that's exactly like her in everything. You know, she wants you to have your opinions and not back down. But you don't have to be a dick about it. You don't have to be disrespectful about it. You can be like, hey, no, this is my opinions and I'll hold true to them. Don't ever be that guy who changes his opinions. That's what nice guys do, right? They're phonies. They're frauds. They will put on a camouflage. They will pretend to be someone that this girl wants them to be so they continue to please her. No, I also love watching Barbie as well. I loved it. Motherfucker, you didn't. You just want to get her to be like, oh, really? You know? Oh, I also love Harry Styles. You know, don't get me wrong. Harry Styles has a few good songs. But you get the fucking point here, right? Don't pretend to be someone you're not just to please a woman, because she'll know. She'll be like, this guy doesn't seem very authentic. He's agreeing with everything. I want someone who introduces me to new music, who has different opinions, can teach me something. Not somebody who's a yes man. Yeah, I also, yep, I agree, yep. You're allowed your own fucking opinions, man. Like I said, you don't have to be disrespectful with it. No, bitch, you're wrong. You don't have to be like that. But you can say, no, this is how I believe this should be done. Or, you know, this is my view on this global situation or whatever. And you can be, a gentleman about it. healthy discourse. Now, if she starts throwing shit at you, then, you might be in a toxic relationship, mate. Okay? But it's okay to have differences. So, going back to what I was saying, guys, in the beginning of the video, setting boundaries is very important. This is how you respect yourself. When you set boundaries, you respect yourself, and as a consequence, people respect you. If you do not set boundaries, people will plot against you, and they will exploit your fucking vulnerable ass. Look at this little weak bitch. We can walk all over him. And some women do that to guys who have money, as an example. Oh, can you send me this much? I need... And they know the guy's going to say yes. They know he's a weak bitch. They know he doesn't stand up for himself and say, nah, you know what? I don't know you. Yeah, we've been on one date, but why should I send you $500 for? You're not my woman. You're not my wife. It's crazy how many guys get taken advantage of. And it's their fault, by the way. Let me make this clear. The woman has taken advantage of a situation, an opportunity that she sees. Is it a moral thing to do? No. But it is what it is. When women sniff weakness, they will take advantage of it. When anybody, man or woman, sniffs weakness, they will take advantage of you. So set boundaries, man. I think this is one of the most important videos I've ever made on this channel. And I really want you guys to take this message seriously. Okay? Don't be afraid. I know sometimes your heart will start racing. Oh, should I stand up for myself or not? Especially if you grew up in an environment where you were afraid to voice your opinion, and maybe your parents beat the shit out of you when you were young for voicing your opinion, so you grew up holding them to yourself. No. I know it's scary in the beginning, but you can change. And like I said, you can be respectful when you enforce boundaries. You don't have to be a dictator. Alright, so stick up for yourself, man. You will respect yourself more in the process. I want you to look in the mirror and actually like the man that you see. I don't want you to see him as a piece of shit, weak human being. No. Alright? So thanks for watching, fellas. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, comment, let me know what you think down below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. Peace.